Hi guys, it is yeah, whatever you want to call me. And today I guess we're doing let's replay Spyro the Dragon. Um I have decided to do this because I actually don't know. I don't know why I really decided to make this. But I'm gonna try to not waste your time because at this point in time, let's plays are very common. A lot more common than when I first did a Let's Play of this game, which was a long time ago. Um, so I will talk a little bit about. I'll try to talk a bit about in this video. I'll try to talk about why I started Let's Plays, why I had such a fascination with this game and this series in particular, um, and then maybe a bunch of other stuff. I don't know. Um, like the first two, sorry, the first part, which will be the first two homeworlds. I'm gonna try to keep things on topic, mostly on topic, and then maybe we could go a little bit off course. But I mean, everything is sort of related because this game has sort of been in the series, um, has sort of been with me. I mean, most of my life, or almost. I mean, it's definitely made impacts on my life and the directions I've gone in life. As weird as that sounds. Um, and so, I mean, I think I could really talk about anything I really want. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of a meta Let's Play because I will actually, I actually don't remember the original Let's Play at all of this that I made a long time ago. I don't know what was talked about apart from a few sort of just jokes that were made about some of my commentary. I do remember that the first like 8 parts or something were redone because I didn't like my original commentary. I thought it was too like amateurish or something, and I talked too much about like I don't know random stuff and not enough like introduction into the actual game. And I'm obviously not going to be doing that in this Let's Play at all. I'm not going to be really talking about the game or interesting facts. I mean, there's like a million videos. If you want to see interesting facts, videos, there's a million. I was even planning on doing like a Spyro iceberg video, like I don't know, like 5 years ago. But probably someone's probably already done that at this point. Like, or I was going to make a Spyro iceberg or something, but that's probably already been done. And I don't think that's really what I think I can really contribute to this game. I think I really just want to talk about my personal experiences. I think that's probably the most interesting thing. Um, I mean, at this point in time, it almost feels sort of like I don't know, like sort of narcissistic or like I don't know what the right word is. Like, it feels like I'm sort of like obsessed with myself or something. If I'm sort of talking about myself and I'm not just talking about the game, but I don't think it really matters. I think that's just you know being the age I am and being sort of self-conscious about the fact that I'm playing a video game which is like nearly 30 years old. I think that's more why I'm sort of I'm a little bit sort of self-conscious about. I mean, it's extremely meta. Oh my god. Okay, so I just want to briefly mention that I actually did play through this I think last night or the night before. Might have been the night before. I can't remember. Because I wanted to see how long it would take me to 120% the game, and it took me about 2.5 hours, and that's extremely rough because keep in mind that I haven't replayed this in a long time, a couple of years at least. I think the last time I played this game was maybe when I did bingo of it, something. I might have played it here or there once or twice, just randomly. I can't remember, but I don't play Spyro very often. So yesterday I just went through it and yeah, 2.5 hours. I'm actually all right with that because like it's really rusty, but it's alright. Anyway, so Sunny Fly. I remember actually this level, like being really excited to my mum when I was like really early, just starting on YouTube. Like, well, I mean, a couple of years after I started on YouTube. Um, and I was showing my mum like the best times that I got in this flight because I mean, obviously at that point in time, I mean, it wasn't really documented about who had the world record. I think there was this website called like Ultra Score or something like that. Oh, by the way, this is gonna be yeah, two homeworlds at a time. Because I mean, I'm gonna talk for way too much. I mean, I talk. You could tell. I mean, that's why I started Let's Play in the first place because I could just talk so much. and I have so much to say, and I don't have um, enough sort of confidence to just go up to random people and just start talking. Absolutely not. I would feel like a complete autist if I was to just, even to someone that I was really close to just start talking and then never stop. I would feel very autistic. So I mean, that's always why I've liked Let's Plays, because I don't have to feel that self-conscious about rambling on. Back then, I just wanted to talk about my favorite games. Now I sort of, I don't know. I feel like maybe you might get some interest at like what the hell's been going on in my life. Like I privated almost all my videos. Um, I stopped Let's Playing a long time ago, and I haven't really made videos in a couple of years. I mean, at least on this channel. So I mean, it's I will get to what I've been doing, or why I did the things I did or whatever. But again, I want to stay like as much on topic as I can in this video. In this part, I should say. So what will we talk about? Oh, Let's Plays, right? So I started doing Let's Plays because I just had a lot of stuff to say about these games, and I really didn't want to. I wanted to. Well, I guess I don't think I really had an intention to meet people when I first started Let's Plays. I didn't really have the intention. Oh, if I start Let's Plays, I'm gonna start interacting with this person or something. But I think just generally, I just wanted to express to the world sort of my opinions and maybe some interesting facts about these games, or sort of how I view these games. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm like sort of looking too far into it. It might have been just I just wanted to. I don't know. I mean that's it. I wanted to talk about these games, and I wanted to talk, and basically it'd be up to you if you decide or not, or whether or not you want to listen or not, right? Like it's not up to me. I'm not sticking you in front of the computer and saying you have to listen, or the phone or whatever, and saying you have to listen to me speak, right? You have to make the conscious decision to click on this video and stay watching this video and listen to me speak, right? So that means that it takes away sort of like that anxiety that I might have if I'm just sort of quote unquote geeking out, for lack of a better word. And if it's just, I mean, this is all probably said to death about Let's Plays, but I thought I would, reiterate, like some people, they might say like, oh, Let's Plays is about like, it's just a way for me to make money, or, get attention or something. I mean, is it attention seeking? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's attention for the right things. Like you're getting attention for things that you like. It isn't just attention for no reason. So yeah, I'm doing this a couple of homeworlds at a time because I'm going to speak for way too long. I'm going to hope I don't repeat myself too much during this. Sometimes I forget what I'm saying. I've actually learned recently that I actually have a very terrible memory. I have friends who remember and bring up things only a couple months ago that I've just completely forgotten, or I only barely remember. Like they might like sort of is it twig my memory? But and my vocabulary also is terrible. I mean, that's been a thing since I was quite young. Like I've always had a pretty shit vocabulary. Like actually, well, no. It's not that I have a shit vocabulary. It's just that I have a lot of these like tip of the tongue moments, and I just can't think of the word, and that happens a lot. That happens a lot, and I have to. And it's really annoying when I'm having an argument with someone, and I want to pick a specific word, and I just get completely stuck, and I look like an idiot because I'm trying to like say a specific word, and that's the thing. It happens all the time with me. Very annoying. So my memory is not good. I've learned that recently. I can remember some things. I think it's because the only memories I remember, I mean, I think I remember negative things. Like, I mean, that's the thing. Everyone remembers negative things a lot more than positive things, but that's absolutely the case with me. I'm a very neurotic person, extremely neurotic person. I remember the bad things. I remember when things make me feel really bad. That's always the case. So it does mean that like if I have like a social faux pas, or I've done something sort of wrong, something like that, I will remember that. I will remember that. I will not let that go from my mind, and I will most likely be analyzing most likely be analyzing it too. As you know, if I made the right decision, or something like that. Sometimes I made the right decision. Sometimes I'm just shitty at myself, and I didn't really do anything wrong. But I think I was like, as a kid, I was like, oh my god, we're getting into like autobiographical territory. But not everyone, when I grew up, was into sort of video games. I think it's a bit different these days. Like these days, like almost like every kid plays games. I'm pretty sure. But back then, like games, it was sort of like a nerd hobby, and I'm not exactly sure why I was more into games than other people. I mean, I got into them pretty young. It could have just been that. It could have been that I sort of wanted a sense of escapism. Maybe kids these days just want more of a sense of escapism. It could just be because their friends were playing it, but I definitely felt like I needed a sense of escapism. And I mean but it would get to a point where like I would have IRL friends. IRL, oh my god, I can't believe I'm saying that. But I would have friends and school friends, whatever. And I would just want to go over to their house and play games. Like especially if somebody had an N64, because I never had one as a kid. So I'd always want to just go over to their house and play Mario Kart or something. And they would, I don't know if it's because their parents weren't fond of that, and like it was sort of just like the kids were sort of like feeling that they had to sort of have the same opinion as their parents. I feel like that's probably a lot of the time that's the case, like but like a lot of the time they were like, no, let's, I don't know, run around instead. I don't know, go play hide and seek or play tag or play like football or something like that, right? They didn't actually want. They weren't as much of a fan as playing video games as I was. It could just be that I've always been sort of a bit of a sort of a free thinker, I guess. Like, I mean, maybe I'm giving myself too much credit there. But I think most people who know me would say that I'm sort of a bit of a contrarian. And I like to do sort of what I want. I don't like to sort of toe the line of what is sort of just expected. And I want to know the reasons. If I'm told I have to do something, I want to know the reasons as to why that's the case, right? I always used to get pissy at board games because I always thought that the rules were unfair, and I wanted to. I mean, I know I started crying during them when I lost and stuff like that. I don't know if that's. I think it's because, I mean, there was frustration there, absolutely, because maybe that was based on luck or something like that. And I mean, I do like to win. That's absolutely. I like to win. I like to be right. Absolutely the case. Absolutely the case. Both counts. But I think it's also that like when I think something is unfair, I get very upset if I'm sort of forced to do it, or if I don't know, if it's expected of me, if other people treat it like it's fair, and it's just what you're supposed to do. So I think I liked video games, and even if my parents did not like me playing video games, my mum banned me on 2 occasions for 6 months when I was a kid, from PlayStation, because she thought I was addicted. And they would do things like I'd have a certain amount of time per day, limited, because at a point I was playing, PlayStation for like 5 hours a day. It didn't really matter that I only had like a handful of games. Like, that was enough, really. But sorry for all the umming, by the way. Like, I have a lot of sort of concurrent thoughts, and it's sort of difficult sometimes to pick like which one to say. I get sort of mixed up. I think very fast. Look, I don't think I'm an incredibly intelligent person. But I'm definitely an anxious person, and I definitely think a lot. I used to sort of ruminate as a kid. These days I just stay up, but when my parents used to send me to bed, I used to ruminate for a lot. But anyway, I guess my point is that I liked video games, and I don't think my mum or anyone else restricting me from those games, or sort of shaming me for being into games, or people calling me a nerd, or people bullying me for it, or calling me a child or something. None of that stuff was going to make me stop, I was always going to play, and I was always going to be a fan. Like even when I was banned from video games, I would like play out the video games with my like Lego. Like in those periods I was banned, or I would sort of write things in like pages. I mean, a lot of kids did this. Like anyone who's obsessed with games as a kid probably did this. And yeah. So I mean, it was not a sort of an interest that I was gonna give up anytime soon. And I'm not exactly sure why it is. I haven't like sort of looked at any kind of like psychological study that goes out of the whatever the word is, limits or whatever boundaries of this let's play replay, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to do I don't know the psychology of kids, why exactly they're drawn to video games, but I could sense it was probably an element of escapism there. Like I mean, I'm not gonna act like I had like the most unhappy childhood in the world, from a first world country, like or anything. But I mean, like a lot of people, I had problems in my family, and I don't think my parents were the best parents. But that goes for, I'd say most people. So I'm not exactly sure what drew me to this. I think a lot of people, they just get over it. They're into games as a kid, and then they sort of get over it, and it becomes sort of this thing that they might pick up later in life when a HD remake comes out or something like that, and say, wow, heckin' nostalgia, or they watch speed runs with lots of glitches and say, they're breaking my childhood, or something like that. Obviously that wasn't the case for me, because I stuck with Spyro and shit all through my teens and stuff, into my adulthood. Where am I going next? I gotta go to Town Square, right? Yeah. Okay. So, what was I saying? So, yeah, so I was into games. And I didn't sort of grow out of it. I think I mean, I sort of did. I think I sort of did by the time I was like 12 or 13 or something. I'd pretty much sort of stopped getting into new games. And I was more sort of focusing on like either like, I guess, like socializing with friends, or like, I mean, there's a card game I used to play with friends, and I mean, I would get up to physical activity, all that kind of stuff. Like I mean, I had periods of being like, there was one period when I was 11, I definitely know I was chubby, like a little bit, but yeah, I mean, yeah, like generally, like I sort of grew out of games, like the PS2, for example. I had quite a few games on there. Like obviously my username, my OG username, was named after Ratchet and Clank. That was because when I made my YouTube channel, I was really obsessed with Ratchet and Clank at the time. That interest sort of subsided because I just think that I had less of a sort of like an early childhood connection to those games, and I think they're not as simple as like Spyro, right? Like Spyro, I feel like it's simple to emulate. That's the one thing. Like Ratchet and Clank is really difficult to emulate. But I just think Ratchet and Clank, and then I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's probably again analysis about this, why people might prefer something like Spyro to Ratchet and Clank. I'm not really sure, but the point is, I sort of, by that era of video games, I was already sort of growing out of games. I remember when I played Ratchet and Clank, I think the big holy shit moment was, I mean, obviously the big holy shit moment was when I found out it was made by the same people as Spyro, which I didn't realize when I first started playing them. Which is what actually made me like the Ratchet and Clank games more. And there was a period where I identified as a big Insomniac fan. But when I did first play Ratchet and Clank, I was like, holy shit, I was like, oh my god, this is the first time I've been really into a game since I was like really young. Because there was definitely a period in my sort of, I guess, like later childhood, I guess you could say, where I think I was sort of going out of video games, and then Ratchet and Clank sort of brought me back in. I think that's, I guess that's the notable thing. And I mean, and it also brought me, like, it obviously was my first username on the internet. Ratchet and Clank and Spyro was what got me on the internet in the first place, I would say, because I think literally the first thing I did when I had access to the internet was that I went onto like the Spyro forums. So yeah, I was on this like video game forum when I was like first on the internet. I mean, I mean, like everyone, I just played Flash games at the very start. But when I was first on the internet, I was on like this just generic video games forum, and I remember I was a moderator of that forum. I'd put enough posts, like, but everyone, literally everyone was like 11 or something, you know, on this forum. Yeah, we got a gem missing, so I get to talk for longer. Literally everybody was a mod on this. Oh, sorry, not everybody, but they're all 12 or 11, or they were just little kids, right? I'm pretty sure. So, I was a moderator, and I used to do like really immature things. Like when I had an argument with someone, I would like edit their posts to make it seem like they were really dumb or something. Like I edit the post to say I'm an idiot, I'm stupid, or make their arguments worse than they were, or some shit like that. You know, like I would do, you know, as you do as a little kid on the internet with moderator powers. So that forum, yeah, that wasn't specifically a Spyro forum, but I think I would just talk about anything really, and I think I was introduced to YouTube on that forum too. Right, I'm back. I just had to get a little bit of water. I was obviously been speaking a lot, and I got dehydrated, and I've got some gems left. I think that's just the end of the balloon though. So what was I saying? So eventually I got onto the Spyro forums, and when The Legend of Spyro came out, let's just say I wasn't happy. Look, I hadn't played the Spyro games in a couple of years at that point, like the new ones. Like I was very disappointed by Enter the Dragonfly. I thought it was pretty crap. Didn't obviously feel as good as the others. Like anyone could tell that, even, you know, a kid. And I never played A Hero's Tale just because I thought it looked kind of too different. To like Enter the Dragonfly, it tricked me into thinking that it was going to just be like a sort of a PS2 version of the PS1 Spyro games, and it sort of is in a lot of ways. But I mean, it is sort of it's like sort of out of it's what's it called? When it's on top, superficially. It's only superficially. Like it's obviously it's shit, right? I mean, it might be a good sort of, it might be a loyal sequel, but it's a shit sequel, right? But A Hero's Tale, I just thought it looked too different. Like I saw like trailers and stuff like that, and I just thought, oh, this looks too different. And I sort of just had just a bad vibe with these new games. Like I remember hearing about like the Crash and Spyro crossover Game Boy games, and just being really cynical about them. Like I just thought that they were crap, right? I just thought they were bad. I mean, I don't exactly know why. I just sort of got the vibe, I guess. I mean, eventually it was because they weren't made by Insomniac, right? I mean, like that's how I knew, right? But I mean, this was before I knew the original games were made by Insomniac. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the newer Spyro games, and then when Legend of Spyro came out, that was like a kick in the balls to me, because it was like, okay, well, we're not going to sort of fix the games to make them better. We're just going to reboot the series. We're going to say, all right, well, you know, we tried with, you know, Hero's Tale, which has it's a very, very flawed game. I don't think it's a terrible game. I think it's just a very flawed game, and there's a lot of ways it sort of isn't quite very loyal to the original Spyro games. But I mean, I know they had to try something different. Like, it's made by Eurocom, right? Like, I'm not gonna give them that much shit for a Hero's Tale, like whatever. But Legend of Spyro was a kick in the balls. It was different because it was a reboot, and it was like sort of pissing on the legacy of Spyro, and you know, changing what Spyro is, what he stands for. You know, I think I don't really need to tell you exactly how Legend of Spyro is different to the original games. Like, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I don't need to go on about it. I mean, but that's something I did go on about a lot on the Spyro forums. A lot. I went on and on about it. In fact, um, if you do some internet sleuthing, you might find a lot of posts about The Legend of Spyro, and I was not a fan of the games. Very much a hater, and I think that drove also my interest again towards Ratchet and Clank and away from Spyro for a while. But I really did sort of pray for a good period of time for the original games to return. I remember there was a time, like a very split second, where I actually was a fan of Legend of Spyro. This is kind of weird. I remember, I'm going to try to do this jump, but I'm terrible, so I can't do it. So there was this time when I actually bought A New Beginning, and I played the game, and I actually liked the game. Have I got the key yet? No, I don't. Okay. I think I liked the story. It sort of sucked me in. It sucked me in, and I liked it for a bit, but I think I sort of started to see the problem as well. Obviously the gameplay is very repetitive. I guess Spyro 1 is also repetitive too, but maybe it was just like the button mashing, like that part is very repetitive, and the challenge isn't very much in this like combat stuff, especially in Eternal Night, because that game is actually challenging. Like A New Beginning is very easy. And it was one thing I used to complain about until I played Eternal Night, and then I said, well, okay, well, I guess this isn't the problem anymore. Because I did any percent A New Beginning, and I thought it was like, I thought it was okay, as in like I was able to not be bored by the game, but I think the issue is that the main issue with something like that is that if you've grown up with something and then like they completely revamp it like that, do you really expect like the OG fans to be happy with that? Like to claim that like it was more mature, it really wasn't. Like the story was, it's like a kid's version of I don't know. Like even a kid's version, a more kidified version of like the Last Airbender or something, right? Or like Lord of the Rings, you know. It's not like the story is any good. It's good for a video game, I guess, of that era, maybe. Maybe. I'm not even necessarily going to claim that. I've never I was a gamer as a little kid. There was a point in time where I stopped being a gamer. There was a point in time where I stopped being a gamer, and then I got suckered back in by Ratchet and Clank. And then I was only a little bit of a gamer because I just like Ratchet. Anyway. But I was never I never played that many games. Like my game collection is not huge. It's a lot of PS1 games, a couple of PS2 games, a couple of Nintendo DS games. There's not much there. So Legend of Spyro, I was not happy about it, and I enjoyed complaining about it. I enjoyed hoping for the OGs to come back. I enjoyed talking about the original games, but I mostly just like complaining about Legend of Spyro on the Spyro forums. Obviously, the originals didn't come back, at least immediately. I sort of like played the other. I think there was sort of a push by people on the Spyro forums that like I couldn't shit on the Legend of Spyro games unless I played them. Same goes for like a Hero's Tale, right? Like it was like this push. Oh, I have to play these games. Then because that's the only way I could complain about it, right? Because otherwise, how can I judge a game if I haven't played it? So I felt like I needed to. So I did like embarrassingly ask when I was getting sort of kind of oldish, right? I have a very sporty family, a little bit, or very like very neurodivergent family, extended family, I should say, or relatively neurodivergent extended family. Neurotypical extended family. God, talk about vocabulary. but yeah, I got some for Christmas. Those later. I know. I got like the later. I think Eternal Night and like A Hero's Tale. I got that for Christmas. And yeah. I didn't like either of those games. Eternal Night I thought was just like Chrome Studios really trying hard to sort of, I mean, beef up the story for all the like the emo kids back then, but then also to maybe try to sort of amend some of the issues people had with the New Beginning, like such as like they made it harder and they put more platforming elements in the game, you know, a bit more. So, but I thought the game was, I mean, obviously it reuses a lot of assets from A New Beginning, and it's the same engine. It feels a bit lazy, that game, and I don't think it's very good. It's also very challenging, at least for me, a noob like me. So I wasn't a fan of Eternal Night. I wasn't a fan of A Hero's Tale because I remember I did a podcast, and I whined and bitched about A Hero's Tale. This was about like 10 years ago or something, and it got deleted. I was very upset about that because I finally got to say my take on A Hero's Tale. But I think just generally, it's a very mid game which has a lot of flaws. It's not particularly interesting. So a lot of people like it. I think it with a couple of tweaks, it could have been a much better game. But it's no original trilogy. It's no original trilogy. I think it's just objectively not as good of a game as the original trilogy. So I mean, I said what I had to say about Spyro games on the Spyro forum. I wasn't happy. I also had a DeviantArt, and I had my own like sort of cast of characters that I invented as a kid, which was sort of, I mean, pretty based on video game characters, I'd say. I mean, like they're also sort of furry characters. Like there was a time where furry had very negative connotations, but I mean, it still has negative connotations, but it had very negative connotations back in the day. Still does. And I called myself an anthro artist. So I had my own like sort of anthro artist characters, and for a period of time I thought I might actually become like a obviously I'm not paying attention to what the hell I'm doing or like what route I'm doing because I'm just talking. So sorry everyone. Sorry for all the speedrunners getting annoyed at me for being shit at this game. I swear I beat this game in 2.5. I mean, there's not much to brag about these days. It's like 300 on the leaderboard or something. But I swear I beat this game in 2.5 hours yesterday. And that included a little bit of a break too. Anyway, what was I saying? So, yeah, those original, those Legend of Spyro games came and went with me, not as a fan, and I thought that they were cliche, they were cheesy, and I don't think they were particularly good games. I mean, okay, they're okay. Like again, like they're not terrible or anything, right? They're not the worst thing in the world, but they're not particularly amazing, and the story is not something that captivated me. I wasn't sort of that kind of like emo kid or anything. Like, I mean, in some way, it's like it's actually kind of weird that I didn't actually become an emo kid. I think I was just so contrarian, and I noticed that it was a bit of a trend. And I was so contrarian that I'm like, no, I'm going to do my own thing here. I'm going to be an anthro artist, and I'm going to draw these cast of characters, and I'm going to become a professional anthro artist if I improve my drawing skills. But I sort of gave up on that pretty quickly. Not exactly sure what it was. I think maybe I again started to have a bit of a social life. But I think maybe I just thought it was too childish of a hobby. Or like, I mean, everyone said it in those days. Oh, that kind of stuff doesn't get you anywhere, right? If you become like an artist or something. Well, that's because they were dumb and they didn't understand what the hell was happening with the world and the way, you know, labor was going. I mean, actually, you could say that it wouldn't get you anywhere these days because you have AI. But for a period of time, it was actually pretty profitable to be a quote unquote furry artist. It was actually quite lucrative. It's still lucrative. You know, there's obviously a lot of anti-AI backlash, and people want to pay real artists to make work. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So I sort of quit that hobby. I sort of took it up for a couple of years. I think it's because I those childhood characters, I just thought they were too childish. And maybe it was also because I was the only one who was sort of interested in them. Like, nobody cared about my DeviantArt drawings. Nobody gave a shit about my DeviantArt drawings, and I got a lot more sort of attention online by complaining about The Legend of Spyro, going on and on about it. There's also a couple of like things I liked on YouTube that I kind of was inspired by, and one of them was like those misheard lyrics videos. So I just uploaded like literally yesterday or the day before, when I'm recording this. I literally uploaded a video of me like badly singing my own misheard lyrics. I mean I have to do the chest and the key, obviously, right? My own misheard lyrics of a Pearl Jam song, right? And Pearl Jam, you know, notoriously, the guy doesn't make much sense what he's saying. So that was one of my favorite videos when I was like a little kid. When I first got onto YouTube, because before that it was just Flash videos, and with YouTube, obviously, there was a lot more crap. It wasn't just like a smorgasbord of Flash videos. There was like so much stuff, right? And then those misheard. I think one, maybe I'm an idiot again with the chests. And I think maybe one might have popped up on like the YouTube recommends, and then that's how I got into them. I think there's like this band called Nightwish, who also are very difficult to understand. Yeah, I remember those Pearl Jam songs, and I always wanted to make my own misheard version of that song, and so that's why I uploaded that yesterday, the day before. Trying to get to things that I never got around to doing a long time ago. So why I eventually came to YouTube was I wanted to make my own sort of misheard or like those kind of types of videos. I can just exit a lot. No more vortexes needed unless you're doing a speedrun. Oh, except for the last worlds. The last homeworld, I should say. If you call that a homeworld, would you even call that a homeworld? It's not called home, it's called North Nexus. So maybe that's not technically a homeworld. It's like an away world or a foreign world. I don't know, third world. Sixth world, I should say. Right, so why I eventually came onto YouTube was I wanted to make my own videos, and then I actually did start making videos about Spyro. I think there might have been like a video or two I made where it was me just using text-to-speech or something and bitching about Spyro. I also like obviously was a fan of like the Angry Video Game Nerd. That was obviously really big at the time. And I kind of wanted to make my own reviews of the Legend of Spyro games, my own hate reviews, because obviously that's not what the Angry Video Game Nerd was touching. It was touching like games from like the NES, not like PS2 games that have just come out. So I tried making my own angry review, and it was terrible because I can't be funny. Like, I could be angry, sure, but I couldn't be funny, and I was trying to be funny. I should have probably just been angry, but as you do as a kid, you think that like you need to be, you know, intentionally funny. I couldn't do that, and it just was dumb. I also had like a really sort of childish high-pitched voice, and I was kind of self-conscious about that. So I instead just like made like a couple of videos here and there, just either expressing my thoughts one way or another on the OG Spyro trilogy, and maybe I made some stuff about other video games or my characters, like random stuff on YouTube. And then I also had my DeviantArt where I was doing like little journal entries as well, sort of narrating stuff. And I was always in that sort of, I guess, twilight zone between being like a relatively normal, neurotypical kid and being a full-blown autist. Like doing things like, especially when I was really young, sort of play acting the Spyro games with my friends, or trying to. They weren't really interested because they thought that was, gay and stupid. So that's like what I would try to get them to do, and what I was interested in for a point in time. But I think really my first year of high school, year 7 of high school, I think that was sort of a little bit of a turning point, especially towards the end of that year. A little bit of a turning point where I was sort of I was doing well at school, very well at school. I had friends. I was a little bit of a tist, but I was able to sort of fit in, and I was liked, and they thought I was funny and cool, and I was invited to things, So I'd say I could get away with being a pretty normal kid at that point. Like I sort of had made it, I made it. Like in primary school, I was like this crybaby who picked their nose and got bullied a lot for a period of time. I had friends and stuff like that, and based all my activities that I did, or almost all my activities, on either video games or characters that I created inspired by video games. Like, for example, like obviously CTR, right? Big game. I had like Crash Team Racing, for anyone who doesn't realize what I'm talking about. I had this like runaround game called Squilly Team Racing, which Squilly was like my character, right? So I would just run around the school in pre-made courses, pretending to be characters that I made. They all had their own sort of top speed, and maybe they'd have their own abilities too, based on Upper Race Mania, but probably not. It was mainly like a CTR based thing. And so I'd run around the school. So it's like incorporating video games into a physical activity, which is a little bit autistic, but it's getting somewhere. It's getting somewhere. it's making do with the tism, right? So I think I'd mostly grown out of being a weirdo by the time I was in my first year of high school. I did cry still a fair bit, like easily, when I felt like embarrassed, I guess, maybe, or like I felt something was unfair, maybe. I just couldn't help it. I was a crybaby, and that's something I was picked on for a lot in primary school, and I got picked on for the first year or two of high school as well. But I don't think I was really isolated. I don't think I was really... I think I was, for a period of time as a kid, I was isolated, but for the most part, I was not socially isolated. I did have some friends. And so, I was sort of on like the twilight zone of like, was I neurotypical? Was I neurodivergent? And what am I missing? Missing the lights, right? It's embarrassing. I used to be really good at Night Flight. Let me try to do a lot better this time. Okay. I like it in Spyro 3 that it's got the gems. I think it's fun. I think it's pointless to have the extra time, in a way. I think in the route I'm used to, I don't get those lamp posts there. That's a bit weird or something, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, so I very much enjoyed playing video games. Obviously, during primary school, I used to go home and go on these forums, so I clearly was very interested in it. Um, I really was very disappointed that we did not get a fourth Spyro game. A fourth good Spyro game, I should say. It really disappointed me. For whatever reason, I was very autistic about it. I'm not exactly sure what made me that way. Um, I mean, I have like ideas, which maybe we can get into if we get deeper into my personal psychology. And look, I've done it again, and that's not what I'm supposed to do. Here it is. Okay, I'm stupid. I should have realized that was it. Okay. So yeah, I mean, but I think by the time I was in first year of high school, I got my shit together. Things were sort of like coming together where I was finally sort of growing out of everything. Like maybe it was just sort of a childhood thing, right? And that really went to shit in year 8. That really went to shit in year 8. Things went downhill very quickly for me in year 8. And I basically I want to get the rest of these gems. I definitely reclused onto the internet to a fair bit of a degree. I was still on the Spyro forums at this point, but I probably started to being a bit more active. On YouTube, I was a fan of Red Devil Dazzy at the time, and he was doing these level sort of I guess they were speedruns. I think he just called them level trials or something. I don't know what he called them. Of like levels in the first 3 Spyro games, and I'm like, wow, I can beat this guy, right? Like he's slow, right? I can beat him easy, right? Like, so I want to sort of put these videos on the internet and show people that I can easily beat this guy in the Spyro in the first 3, and like literally just runs through the levels, right? I just got Cliff Town to go, and that's it. So that's what I did. I recorded a bunch of those and I put them on YouTube. And those I believe my first gameplay. I tried to do like an egg guide at first. I probably had seen something like that on YouTube or something. I'm gonna try to do this. I'm really bad at it. There we go. So I think I probably saw a similar video on YouTube and I wanted to replicate it. I don't know. But I did like an egg guide of Spyro 3, but that only lasted 1 part because I was too lazy to edit it. And as I said, this is not a good time in I was not good. My mental health well and truly deteriorated in my second year of high school. And I started to become lethargic. I mean, I was already a bit of a lazy kid, but it got worse. I started to sleep more. I started to get distracted. I was depressed. I mean, this got worse as time went on, of course. But generally, I felt like I needed to escape, maybe to happier times, or maybe to things that I thought I was good at. Maybe I thought I was bad at things. There was nothing I was good at. I knew I was good at Spyro, at least compared to Red Devil Dazzy. And so that became my reason to... I mean, yeah, at this point, I hadn't really sort of heard of like speedruns. Or maybe I did, I don't know, but I wasn't sort of in deep. I just knew that I could beat Dazzy, and I uploaded those. And then that egg guide went nowhere because I just... Maybe that didn't give me the sort of the dopamine rush that I got from beating Dazzy and bragging to everyone how good I was at Spyro. So I uploaded those, and I think I tried to like get back into the sort of the swing of things with like school and life and stuff like that. But it wasn't really getting anywhere. You know, things got worse. I actually went on this trip, this holiday, where I went scuba diving, and I actually got hearing loss because my left ear was not used to the pressure of the water, and the way that they did it was very unsafe, and it damaged my ear and gave me hearing loss. I've also got tinnitus from that as well. I've got lifelong tinnitus from that event. I was obviously very upset when that first happened. I've gotten sort of used to having tinnitus. Right, everyone who has tinnitus, or I would say mostly everyone who has tinnitus, gets used to it by the end. I went back to YouTube. I made some more videos about Spyro, about glitches. I was very big on making glitch videos because, I mean, that was what Red Devil Dazzy did. But a lot of these videos were like pointed at like a TV or something, and I'd got sort of perhaps working at some point, and was able to record these things on an emulator on I believe EPSXE, because PSXFin was, the graphics are really bad on that. Like, I think they're even worse than the native resolution, I'm pretty sure. PSXFin, I'm not actually can't remember, but EPSXE, yeah, I recorded those glitch videos. Some of them I found, I think myself, or I might have just stole off Dazzy, or I stole off smaller YouTubers and I just recorded them myself, or I sort of assembled several different glitches. Bit of a mixture of things. I mean, there was that video that came out by like that guy called like Eulalilia, right? Which really shone the light of the nature of double jump as well. I can't remember if I actually made that many videos about the double jump in that point of time. I mean, I remember there was a lot of Spyro 3 glitch videos, or a couple at least. Where the heck am I going? What do I need to get? I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry, everyone, that like I'm so distracted talking all about my amazing childhood, amazing life, very interesting life. Has to be interesting because I'm talking about it, right? Like, I have to think it's interesting because I'm talking about it. I don't know. I don't know if my life is that much interesting than anybody else's. You might find it relatable, you might not. Probably not. I don't know exactly why people get into video games or they get into speedruns. I have my own reasons, my own sort of like rationale for why I think that I got into this stuff. But I mean, for me, I was in a point in my life where I was not happy with how things were going. I needed escapism. I needed to retreat into childhood hobbies, things that I was good at, because I didn't feel like I was good at anything. And you know, like I think I thought I could do better than Dazzy with those glitch videos, or so that's why I ended up making Spyro videos. Next part we are going to go into Magic Crafters and Peacemakers, and we're going to talk about Let's Plays. What happened there? So, God, we're already we're already like a third. Well, it's not really a third because those levels really easy. We're already a third through the game, and I've only talked about like why I started doing like really bad, like any percent level speedruns. And yes, there was chitched and non-chitched. I didn't talk about that, but that's maybe I don't know. We'll discuss the next part. Anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. I'm sure it's been fun. I will be doing these videos. I'm not going to record them all at once because I do get a little bit exhausted mentally when I record this kind of stuff. So I won't be doing this. Actually, I'll just go while I'm talking. I won't be doing this tonight. So what I'll do is I don't know how many views it's going to get. It might get like 5 views because, you know, nobody cares anymore, or I might get a bit If anyone has any comments, any questions, and they seem appropriate, I will answer them. If it's, I mean, I don't know. I don't exactly. I'll see. I'll see if I want to answer it or not. Whatever it is. It could seem. Actually, I can't save the game. I can save state. That's good enough. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. This has been a very sort of interesting video. Not the kind of thing that I've done before, and I'm not sure if you'll like it. But yeah, tell me what you thought. And it is, I guess it's good to be back on the channel. So, goodbye.